Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to So That Just Happened, a podcast for those who have lost their person and want to find themselves. I'm Carly Cooper, a single mom, widow, coach, author, and chronic truth seeker. My superpower is finding the funny, the hope, and the silver lining in any shit situation. This podcast is for the purpose of education only and is not a replacement for therapy. If you need additional support, please seek out a trained professional for help with your specific situation. Let's get to it, shall we? Hello, friends. I wasn't planning on doing this episode. In fact, I wasn't even going to release another episode of this podcast until next week. But the idea hit me while I was in the shower today, which is usually when all divine ideas get downloaded for me. And I felt compelled to do it. Not only to try and help those who are directly and indirectly grieving, but also to help me process and channel my anxious, terrified, heavy energy into something that moves me and hopefully you a little closer to the light. To be honest, I'm hesitant to even share my thoughts on this because I don't want to come across as glib or judgmental or appear as though I've got this all figured out, because I don't. Not even close. The recent gut-wrenching events and the terrifying videos, horrific images, and heartbreaking stories are beyond comprehension. The grief from those directly impacted is so palpable that we all feel it. Hard. I've had so many conversations these past few days about the guilt many of us feel for continuing to live our normal day-to-day lives while so many people are suffering. I felt really torn about how much airtime I should give to watching the brutal videos that are being shown all across social media. On the one hand, I want to stay informed and feel the least that I can do is to watch these atrocities as a way to honor the victims and their families. But I wonder, is this how they would want to be remembered? Is watching the graphic violence and relentlessly being reminded of the hate and the evil that exists among us the only way we will remember? I don't judge anyone who chooses to stay glued to their feed or the 24-hour news channels, but I also think it's important not to judge those of us who choose to process this in another way. When news of this massacre began unfolding, I watched like most people did. But when I saw one horrific video in particular, I literally almost fainted. I've never had that reaction before. Typically, I can watch violent movies and feel desensitized, probably because I know it isn't real. But this one hit me differently, and I decided that I couldn't expose myself to these images anymore. And I started to think of other ways I could honor the victims and channel my energy in a more productive and helpful way. And if you're feeling too sensitive and then guilty for not being able to watch what's unfolding, I encourage you to find a way to help and honor this tragedy that feels right for you. I think it's safe to say that we are all terrified, feeling heavy grief, and are also extremely angry and outraged. But instead of staying stuck in the sorrow and channeling your anger in a negative way, let this fiery energy motivate you. If you're someone who is passionate about using your voice, send videos that educate the truth about what's really happening. If your strength is in fundraising or organizing drop-offs for supplies that are needed, get that up and running. If you're someone who craves connection and community, find ways to bring people together or find your people and stand in unity. If you're someone who wants to quietly donate, find the organization that resonates with you. Everyone can say more prayers for peace. Everyone can use this as an opportunity to look at their own lives and evaluate how they can love themselves more, how they can appreciate their family and friends more, how they can spread more kindness and love. It's all needed and necessary. It's very easy in these scary, dark times to stay in the fear and the hate. And while it feels harder and may take more effort at first, I think it's more vital to lead with a peaceful and open heart. That's not to say you have to be okay with what's happening or turn a blind eye, but I think it's another wake-up call for humanity. We are fucking things up. We are prioritizing the wrong things, caring too much about stuff that doesn't matter, looking outside of ourselves for approval, validation, and reason to feel enough. Now, I'm not remotely suggesting these are the reasons why this happened, and I'm not even going to attempt to give any kind of explanation as to why innocent babies, teenagers, the helpless elderly, or beautiful families were annihilated. It's deplorable. But it usually takes a tragic event, either global or a personal one, to shake us out of our automatic pilot way of moving through our lives. My hope is that you can use this horrific time to reevaluate your priorities and your values, to figure out what and who matters most to you, and go all in with an open heart to try and make this broken, divided world somewhat united again. So if you're having a really hard time right now and feeling heavy and sad and hopeless and full of tremendous grief, try and focus on the good that is unfolding. Watch the videos about people coming together, the outpouring of support, the unity, the beautiful communities that stand for peace and love. Give yourself permission to feel all your feelings. Give yourself the grace to be exactly where you're at, and let go of the judgment and the guilt about how you're handling or not handling this. It's a lot, and everyone is allowed to process this in their own way. I'm sending you so much love and light. Bye for now. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for listening to this So That Just Happened podcast. I really hope you found value in this episode and that you're walking away with at least one golden nugget that you can implement or feel inspired by. I would be so grateful if you would share it with one friend or family member who is committed to moving forward and transforming their life. Make sure you subscribe so you can catch every new episode, and please leave me a review. It would mean so much to me. Also, follow me on Facebook and Instagram at @CoachCarly. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.